They're just so good, you guys. I'm going to show you when I'm eating. So bad. Girl, it's so bad. I love Skittles. I have like a whole story time behind this. When I started to have like, eat them a lot when I was in junior high school. And I started to play basketball. Before each of our games, we would have a couple of Skittles, and we thought it had magical powers and it was helping us win our games, and we won our games. You know, they were like the placebo pills. But you know, hey, so was a man thinketh, right? And I think that's really, actually that falls in line with today's video. This is so good too. My lemon water. Usually I have it in my water bottle, but I cut them really thin so they could fit through here. I've been drinking lemon water for so long that the sour taste, I kind of crave it. Like, I enjoy it now. And no, I don't add sugar to it. That would make it lemonade, right? I just drink it pure. And I recommend it to all my survivors. Do it for 30 days and let me know how it changes your life, honey. It's fabulous. I love it. But either way, I digressed it in all different types of angles here. Welcome to my channel, you guys. And you know, I read you guys' comments. I read them, and when I read a comment that I feel like the community could benefit from hearing my reply to this comment, I definitely go ahead and make the video to it. So thank you to this subscriber who, you know, was open and honest. She was watching my video called I Want to Stop Caring. How do I stop caring? And this is interesting. She left this under another comment section video that I made for someone else. Okay. So I read her comment and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a video reply. And, you know, of course she was happy to hear that. So obviously this is great incentive for you guys to always leave comments, because I do read them. So I will personally respond to it, at least give you a heart or something. If I feel like I need to say something, I will. And then furthermore, if I feel like this would be a great video, I'm definitely going to go in that direction. Okay. My turnaround time with them are pretty quick as well. All right. So this happens a lot. This happens a lot, and outside of narcissistic abuse, which is why I wanted to do this one. But let me go ahead and read her statement first and her question as she has at the end. She says, "Hi, this is so hard for me to explain, but I will try. I have fathers for my children who are narcissists. I didn't realize until my last one. I was planning on having another baby with my last narc and just finished having children. I didn't want to add another baby daddy to the mix. But 2 weeks after we had an argument, he got married to someone else, which broke my heart. I don't want him back, but I want a baby by him because I don't want to add another baby daddy to my life. Yes, I know it sounds crazy, but that's how I'm feeling. How do I get over this?" And then I let her know that I was going to make the video reply. And then she gave some additional information. So let's read that one. She says, "One more thing I should add before you make the video is that I am 32 years old. I'm happier being single. I don't foresee entertaining a man in my life anytime soon. I have a well-paying job that enables me to take care of my kids. I'm a foster parent as well. I love and adore kids, and now I am of the belief that doing it without a partner is better for me. This is why I was thinking that way. Sorry for my language. English is not her first language." Well, actually, this was very easy to read, so you're doing great, you know. You're doing great. But I can see here in the second part here that you are, trying to validate your perception of doing things this way. I see here that you want me to agree with your perceptions and your mentality on this. But honestly, I don't agree with it. Okay, I don't agree with having another baby by the narcissist just because you don't want to have another baby daddy in the mix. Okay. A lot of women think this way. Even if we take the narcissistic abuse out of the equation, maybe they had children with a guy that was really toxic to them, and they're like, you know what? He was toxic to me, but I don't want to have kids with multiple men. And so they will continue to have children with this guy because in their mind, it's worse to have children with other people. Okay, so your question is, how do I get over this? It's going to take a shift in your perceptions, okay, in your mentality, in the story that you're telling yourself. Like I said, right now in your head, it is worse to have multiple baby fathers or to have that one more baby dad, if you will, than to just have it with this toxic ex who broke your heart and married someone 2 weeks after you guys broke up. So that lets me know that this person was not faithful or loyal to you, okay? This is definitely not logical. I understand what you're saying. And all right, let me just say this, because it's like an onion with a bunch of layers here, all right? And I'm going to just say that first and foremost. Society has stipulations on women that they typically don't have on men. Okay. And a woman is held to more virtue, typically the less men that she has slept with, and that's more virtuous and that is more positively looked upon. When a woman tends to have children with more and more men, that's frowned upon, then she's put in a box or put under a category as, oh, she must be a hoe, she must be do, and all these negative things, okay? So I'm thinking that these seeds probably were planted in your head and watered throughout your life, and it's engraved in you to the point where you would rather give a man the benefit of carrying his seed again when he didn't appreciate it the first time, just so that you could say that you didn't have to have another child with yet another guy. All right. I think you should consider yourself and your unborn child. This guy has already broken your heart. He's already taken you for granted. He's already been non-committal. And although you don't want a commitment from him in a traditional sense, I would think that putting yourself in such an emotional position of yet carrying his child while he's freshly married with the new supply, and how much of a mental torment that's going to be, because every time you look down at your belly, you're going to know who the child belongs to. And even though you're telling yourself right now that, you're thinking, and it's your belief that doing it without a partner is going to be better for you, but yet you were devastated and it broke your heart when he married someone else. I think that you are in your hurtness right now, giving up on the idea that you could have real love in your life and commitment based off of, these narcissistic fathers who planted seeds of children in your womb and did not stand by you and honor and protect you. All right. And, as far as thinking about your unborn child, I would say, what if that child wants to one day have a relationship with this guy? Now they're going to have to approach a narcissist who's going to be, emotionally unavailable and detached and abusive to this child. it just sets them up in a situation to where, you know, they wouldn't even have a positive fighting chance on getting to know their biological father if they ever wanted to do that one day. And what else can I say about this? Sometimes having children with narcissistic men could pass things down to your child. You know, it could increase actually the odds that your child could become a narcissist, or, you know, any of the diseases that typically narcissists have, mental illness and different things that run in their family. Okay. It's increasing the odds that your child could be, could have this themselves. Okay. And we're talking about a narcissist here, which the apple a lot of times doesn't fall far from the tree, which means his family, you know. So any of that side of the family, if your unborn child eventually grows up and wants to reconnect with them, it could, you know, be other narcissists and things that they would be subjected to. All right. And this also speaks to you judging yourself and being externally focused as well, possibly, as with other people's judgments. And, you know, it's not crazy, but it's emotional. Your reason and your logic for that is out of your shadow side. But so many women are like this, and I've talked to many women who have felt that way. I understand. And it sounds like an issue perhaps with delayed gratification as well. As you said, you know, if you don't take that opportunity to try to have the baby, you don't foresee that you will with anyone else or entertain a guy anytime soon. And you're saying you can financially afford it. But, you know, women do get vulnerable at the end of their pregnancy and they need to go stay at home and stuff. You never know what could happen, honey. You could have to be on a bed rest for, you know, it could be unforeseen things. And nor am I wishing those things on you, of course. But you just don't know when you're having a child. You could end up being pregnant with multiples, okay? You know, at the end of the day, the narcissist, they did not deserve the children or the child that they did get from you. You know what I mean? And having someone's child is an honor. I mean, what it sounds like you really want at this point is a sperm donor more than anything. And there are ways to go about that, you know, but some women also have stipulations with that. Well, no, my baby's not going to be a test tube baby. You know, I want to have my child through regular ways. But, you know, the fact that he broke your heart by getting married, it made me feel like you wanted that for yourself. Okay. But I definitely wouldn't, I wouldn't give up that possibility just because it didn't work out with him. And I don't want you to underestimate the exposure to this energy again, and the effect that can have on you. How re-triggering that can usually be for survivors, especially early on, which it is early on. And the amount of drama you could be potentially bringing to your doorstep. Okay. And how a narcissist would just use this situation to further attack you. You know, this guy could be sent on an assignment to bring you down to your lowest of low. So, you know, we're talking about a spiritual warfare here. So you need to get away from that energy and stay away from that energy. You're not invited back to your life, in your body, anything. You know, having a child is very spiritual as well. And just because you did it once with him doesn't mean that you should do it again. And I know that you might be coming to me from the angle of, you know what, I don't want to sleep with him, Lakia, but I feel like I need to sleep with him because, like I said, I don't want to bring another man into the mix of this situation. But, you know, this is toxic programming. This is toxic programming that is going to sabotage you and further traumatize you in the short term and in the long term, okay? And I want you to be able to see the angles as to why that is a very bad idea, okay? And you know what? Right now, it seems as though he is pretty distracted by this primary source. This new primary source. And I can't even say that you were the former one so much when he was able to jump ship so quickly, like getting married 2 weeks later. So maybe you weren't the primary source, at least not at that time. But it sounds like he's pretty distracted, and that's what you want. Unfortunately, yeah, they're distracted with another supply, another person. So there's somebody else's problem. And I'm saying, unfortunately, and you might not subconsciously be feeling, so, you know, the fortune of that. You know, maybe there's an aspect of yourself that doesn't see where that's a good thing. Because the more he's focused on over there, he's not focused on over there with you. But he could very well, you know, if you went through a pregnancy with him, that's supply for him. He was like, oh, well, I'm keeping some type of attachment to her. And you're like, well, I already have a child, we're attached, but this is a little different here. This is a fresher attachment in ways that he know, probably psychologically, that he can be use you as an emotional punching bag. And like, oh, out of his boredom, I'm gonna go F with her today. I act like I'm gonna ask her if I can come rub her feet and never come. And you're like, I would never even say okay to that. But you know what? When you're pregnant, you have a lot of hormones running through you, and you can be, it's possible to be emotionally vulnerable at this time. Okay, so you don't want him to have anything to do with trying to exploit you at that time when you have all these hormones raging. Okay, and it might actually make things feel very confusing with you. And there's so many things that pregnant women go through. Your hormones might rise and you might feel really sexual. A lot of women do when they're pregnant. They feel extremely sexual when they get out of the first trimester of being very sick. And who do you think you're going to want to sleep with at that point? And if you are the type of woman that doesn't want to have that other belt notch, now here you are being a mistress. Okay, this is why when people get surrogates and they do this sperm donor thing, they try to pick people that may never know who they are, or people that are like 1,000 degrees of separation and not connected to their waking life. Okay, there's a better way to go about that. And I really want you to take a deep, logical consideration of this. All right. And then, you know, sexually, he's sleeping with her. Then he's going to come sleep with you. He's just putting her energy inside of you as well. Okay, and we don't know what she's working with. You know, considering that she was in agreement to marrying him. Because, you know, remember, when you sleep with a person, you're sleeping with all their past energies as well, if they haven't cleared that. All right, so there's a lot to be considering. There's a lot to consider, sweetie. And, you know, you said a lot of I's in this statement. So, like I said, I would definitely want you to think outside of just yourself, but consider yourself as well. And I certainly wouldn't try to have his baby and he's freshly married, okay? Don't do that, sweetie. I don't want you to be in a situation of by any means necessary. Because that certainly means that you'll be settling and taking less than in the process. So until you see how actually having this baby with a healthy man or setting it up in a situation where, like I said, the sperm donor type of thing where the person is clearly not going to be involved, until you start seeing how that is more of a benefit and less stress to you. You have to get into your logic. Yeah, so many women have done this. And, you know, they end up carrying all of the weight and all of the responsibilities. And you're saying that you want that and that you could afford to do that. But does that mean that you should have to do that? Don't give up on what you really want. And let's be honest with yourself. Yeah, it's just striking me that, you know, you were so heartbroken over him getting married, but you don't want, you want to go at it alone. Is it because you just wanted that particular person? You're limiting yourself to that particular person, perhaps? That's a lot. So you have your own children, your foster parent, and then you would be having another child by a toxic narcissist. And guess what? He might even eat that up because now he gets to have his secondary source, another family on the side. He probably would try to lie to his wife about the child being yours, or she would probably want to try to hide that. And I would hope that you wouldn't be so toxic as to go along with that. You can't even trust him. You can't even trust him. So I think the key phrase is in here is that's how I'm feeling. Okay. And you know how I feel about running off of feelings on this channel. I should have just called this like a Skittles mukbang with such a big container. I gotta get some food, you guys. But I'm not gonna co-sign this, sweetie. And I know oftentimes we want what we want when we want it. There's a better way to go about it. But it's going to require, like I said, a shift in your perceptions and your mentality. You're looking at this from a toxic, shadowy angle, sweetie. And I think you need to consider you, your unborn child, and all the other kids as well. Okay? I don't want you to further hurt yourself emotionally. They need you to be as strong as possible. The children that you already have. And because it broke your heart that he married someone else, I just don't see where carrying his child and while he's over there married with someone else, how that's going to make you happy. All right. And sometimes out of our toxicity, we want to have that connection to the person that we want, but it's going to hurt because that connection is going to be a reminder now of what you don't have. And you're saying you don't want that. But it's hard for me to believe that. But if that is true, let's say that is true, that you really don't want that with him because you don't want him back. You just want the baby. Let's say that that's true. Why with a man like that? You know, I wouldn't co-sign it. I wouldn't co-sign it for a lot of reasons. And some of those reasons I wouldn't even put in this video. You know, and maybe if you provide your email address, I will privately send you these other couple of reasons that I don't think that I would be willing to put in a video, because maybe controversy, a little too controversy for some. But just think along the lines of what I said about passing down to your children. You want to get away from that energy. You just want to get away from that energy. And pray over the children you do have with narcissists and keep them, you know, cleansed and prayed up on, okay? But like I said, those people are full of darkness, and connecting yourself with them, you know, you're letting him into your body again. Okay, that's a surge of energy right there. And then you are letting him come into your womb again, his seed, you know, his bloodline, his energy. You don't want that, honey. And like I said, they usually have a lot of mental illness and ailments and illnesses, and it's a lot more than what meets the eye. Okay. You don't want to bring a baby into the world under that energy. You don't want to use that kind of energy to create that baby. You don't want to do that. You know, the more spiritual I am and the more that I understand about energy, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do it. But there are other things that I could say about this that I'm just not going to be willing to put into this video. You know, some things are for YouTube and some things are for off of YouTube. Okay, I give you guys what I feel like is for YouTube. Okay, but yeah, you have to be very careful in life. He doesn't deserve it. And I know you're not even thinking about what he deserves. You're thinking about what you want. But I want you to consider what you need and what's best for you, your unborn child, and the children that you're already taking care of. You need to stay away from him. And all these technicalities is way more wiser to find a good man. Way more wiser than to do this with a bad one. Okay? Then if something were to ever happen to you, who's going to get custody of those children? I hope that you have a will as well. There's so many things to consider here. But, you know, a lot of women, they have that thought. I need to have them all with him, because they think it's worse to have another belt notch, if you will, to be looked upon as ran through and used up. Like, those are other people's opinions. Okay? Other people's opinions. And it's none of their business. But we adopt it ourselves. So not only are we concerned about, like I said, the external, but we're being judgmental on ourselves. I would be proud of myself to have the emotional maturity to not make a decision off of my feelings like that, but to use my logic. I mean, you don't say in here what he does for the ones that you currently have, like if he's paying child support, if he has visitation. So I don't know those type of details. But I do know that narcissists should not be parents. Okay. So I don't co-sign it. And you didn't ask me if I did. You just basically asked, how do I get over this? Shifting your perceptions and your mentality. All right. You can't see having a child with a good man as worse than having a child with a bad man, just because it's another person. Okay. And you're pretty young. You're only 32. So, you know, it's definitely going to be your life. And marriage is not for everyone. And sometimes being a single parent is a beautiful thing and the best option, especially when it's connected to a toxic person. But it doesn't sound to me like that's what you wanted. It just sounds like what he wanted. But this person was never putting you first to begin with, to run off and marry someone 2 weeks later. It sounds like you were not the primary source to begin with. And that, I'm not sure if you realize that either. But, you know, I hope that this video has given you some things to consider. And like I said, if you want to email me at CoachLakia@gmail.com, I can, you know, it's not anything drawn out or anything, a couple of other things that you can consider about the situation and be mindful about. Okay? I'm just looking at the numbers here. You sent the number one here when I printed this was 14. 1 and 4 is 5. And that speaks to being put through a lot of changes, going through a lot of changes. And then I see the number 18 here, because I screenshot this twice. Okay, so 18 hours later, I screenshot it. And 18 represents being in the world, but not of it. And then we have the number 3 down here. And to me, that represents the Trinity. Okay. Either way, if you know it's a bad man, like, spare the child. Spare the child of having that family history, of having that tie. Spare the child. And you think you may be sparing the child by simply having the narcissist physically out of the picture. But trust me, life's a lot more deeper than that. It's a lot more deeper than that, honey. Get away from this man. And, you know, gray rock him if you have to deal with him for the child that you do have. But do not put more on your plate in dealing with him. You deserve more. But if you don't want more, that's fine. But don't make it harder for yourself in the meanwhile, okay? I hope that this has helped you. You have to expand your mind, okay? You have some toxic thoughts and perceptions here. Feel free to email me and let me know which way you decide to go. I think you asking me, how do I get over this, is your acknowledgement that this, you know, something inside of you knows this isn't in your best interest. This isn't your higher self. So there's a part of you that understands that, or else you wouldn't want to get over this. Or maybe you wanted to get over it because now he's married and you feel like the door is closed because of that. And not with a messy narcissist. That's exactly what you need to be. Okay? The wife and everybody. Please. Especially if you're external judgment, you're going to go get pregnant by a married man. They're going to smear you bad, girl. You don't need that drama. And the children that you have don't need that drama. And your unborn child don't need to be around that drama. Go research stress and trauma and drama when a mother is pregnant with a child and she's constantly stressed out. It does affect the unborn fetus. So yeah, I hope that this helps you. Like I said, let me know. And I know it may not be what you want to hear. Maybe it is. Maybe, you know, the whole idea is for me to give you some more logical things to consider. All right, in your emotional maturity here. If you guys want to give her some more advice down there, please, I just picture somebody typing, run, and never look back. If you guys want to give her some more advice down here, definitely feel free to do so, okay? This is a no judgment zone. You're not the only person who had that mentality, okay? And, you know, the unborn child gets hurt the most, honestly. And you're inadvertently hurting yourself, because then it's going to hurt you to watch them hurt, okay? Don't put any more kids in the mix of that, okay, honey? That is my advice. You're going to have to shift your perceptions, like I said. All right? I hope that you will be able to do that. I just want you to be careful, okay? And I don't want you to have your heart feel like it's getting further broken by someone who does not love or care about you, okay? He needs not to be touching you. He doesn't deserve to be able to smell you again, sweetie, let alone impregnate you. All right. I want you to increase your value, because it says a lot, you know, to want to go back to that person. It's like very limiting. And like I said, I feel like you may be projecting your past experiences on your present and your future. And that's not how it has to be. You could have had a string of horrible relationships, and the next one could be fabulous and beautiful and wonderful. You know, your past doesn't have to keep dictating your future if you're taking your lessons. All right. Even if you did just want to have like this, like I said, this sperm donor type of thing, this is the worst person to be doing it with because of the history. Well, there should be some greater things that you wouldn't want. You know, just think about subjecting yourself to the energy of even sleeping with the narcissist again. You know, when we're in our logic and out of that soul tie, you should want to throw up at that point. So I don't know if your eyes are fully open to this situation. If you have truly experienced narcissistic abuse, you should not be wanting to sleep with him again. Okay. I also want to point out that sometimes we behave out of our subconscious. A lot of times. I'll just say that, a lot of times. And what this can mean is we're not consciously aware of our motives. And I'm not, you know, at all trying to say that you don't understand yourself. I'm just going to throw this out here. And I have to, just in case, because I'm a person of angles, okay? You know, sometimes we want to keep an attachment to someone, okay, in the best way that we know how to do it. And it seems like in your relationship with him, you guys have done this through procreating, you know. And I don't know who this new person is that's marrying him, but I'm going to go out on a limb to think that maybe he doesn't have kids with her. So, you know, we could see where his value has been placed at this point. She didn't have to have his kids to get the ring, okay? You know, and we're talking about with a narcissist here, of course. So, you know, their motives is not going to be children anyway, okay? But, you know, a lot of times we try to keep this attachment, and it's still not going to increase your value in that person's eye, you know, especially if that person is a narcissist, okay? It's not going to value you more. And you might actually put yourself in a situation to feel further devalued, okay? And I don't want you to have those additional offenses, especially when you're a single mom with other children that are relying on you to be mentally stable and mentally and emotionally available to them. Okay, I feel like this will put you on an emotional roller coaster, because you're probably not really over the relationship you just had with him like you think, if this was like a recent breakup. And maybe you might jump down and say, yes, I am. And who am I to say that you're definitely not? So all I could say was probably, okay, knowing most survivors and their experiences. And there are always exceptions to the rules, of course. All right. But, you know, I just don't want to see you get hurt. And with so many other options of being able to procreate, and you don't know if this person is going to try to come after visitations and stuff like this, and you're saying you want to just have this child on low, but you're actually doing this with someone that you already have to parallel parent with, this doesn't put this on a low. This brings this person back to the surface. All right. And it's hard for me to believe that you want to just go through this pregnancy all by yourself without any kind of support, you know. And although I know that there are people out there who decide to do just that for their own reasons, and to each his own. But I don't know. I just reading the history of everything, I feel like, you know, there's a little bit more than what meets the eye, perhaps. Okay. All right. Never give up on yourself. Continue to do the work. And until next time, please take care.